Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Sunny Secular, Gen Xer of the website sunnyseculargenxer.com. I am working on transitioning my website into a podcast. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought, but I'll get it going sooner or later. I promise. But today's subject is not for the faint of heart. Yes, there will be some foul language. It's just the way it is. It'll come out. I'm not going to censor myself. I mean, I may push the censor button, but as for censoring my uh, thoughts, my comments, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, moving right along. So today's subject is going to be... All right, first let me start from the beginning before I get into the subject. When I speak about the Black community, quote unquote, it's not because I'm targeting the community. It's not because one community is worse than the other, because I do understand that each community or ethnicity or race or whatever has their own problems. I'm speaking because as a Black person who has lived in a Black community and has grown up in a Black community, I can speak for what I have seen. And I know you might be saying, well, who made you the expert? Nobody. I'm not an expert. I'm giving my observations just like everybody else who you follow, who gives their observations, however old they are. I see a lot of people who have thousands of followers, and the person will make a claim. Person is not a doctor, not a physicist, not a nothing. But, y'all take it as word, so here we go. Little background about me, just so you know. My title is Gen X. I am Gen X. I used to not take on that title, but now I'm doing it because, hey, it tells where I fall in the middle part there. Not younger, not older, in the middle. Seen a lot of things, been through a lot of stuff, have seen family and friends, co-workers, take observations on everyone. And like I said before, growing up in the Black community from the time I was born all the way until I was 17, yeah. Then I moved from my hometown, which was right outside of Chicago. It's Indiana. For those who don't know, it's Indiana, but it's still 30 minutes outside of Chicago. At 17, moved to Nashville, Tennessee. Culture shock there. So you go from majority all Black to majority all white. Stayed there for my entire 20s and 30s. Different areas of Tennessee, not just Nashville. I started out in Nashville, then I moved on the suburbs of Nashville, and I just kept going further out until I got tired. And now I'm here in Arizona, which is mostly Hispanic where I am. And I'm not giving Arizona that, stereotype. No, it's not Hispanic. It's still majority white. But the area that I'm in as of now is majority Hispanic. So I get to see another set of culture, have another culture shock. So reason why I wanted to bring up this was because, yes, I have seen a lot of things and I do have a lot of thoughts. And so I just thought I'd bring it out. The subject for today is people are not realizing or just don't care that there is a targeting going on for younger Black women. And I'm not saying targeting as in violence or anything like that. I'm saying targeting as in it's a subtle form of mind control. You have to really examine, what cults do in order to gain mind control. I have a book. I'll go through that book at a later date. I promised that before, but I haven't done it. I'm going to do it at a later date. But what I've noticed is the role that religion plays in the Black community goes beyond just a group of people claiming to be a religion and going to church. This goes into a mindset as well. It's the way they think. And I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with the targeting or anything like that. There are some keywords or trigger words that go on that I could pick up right away before anybody even finished their sentence. Some of the trigger words that I hear are when they say things like, a man is being effeminate, or, is a woman being feminine. You would dress like this, you would look like this, you would do this, you would smell like this, you would do. Nobody can tell you what you're supposed to be, and you don't have to take on a certain label if you don't want. Now, I do understand people who will be like, well, the videos I make are for the videos who are for people who agree with me. That's fine and dandy, but I don't see you as doing it as if you agree with me, then this is what happens. I feel like you're targeting a certain age of people because you're holding that carrot in front of them saying, well, if you act X, Y, and Z, then the grand prize is being married. And I don't agree with that at all. Have I ever been married? No. I have been engaged a couple of times, and I have seen the stereotypes that people have on what your quote-unquote role is supposed to be. So no. To me, I'm one of the ones who I have more freedom and fun not being attached to anyone. I'm not saying you can't date anybody. Of course you could date somebody, but to attach yourself to someone long term and like people falsely think that it's going to be forever when it's 9 times out of 10 not. There are people who do stay forever, and that's because they want to. They'll put up with anything to have that title of staying together forever. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put up with anything. But that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about today is labels. Labels and recognizing that there are differences in today's society. It's not going according to what your holy book is saying or has said. And first of all, there's no reason to even trust the holy book, let alone go by what the definitions of the book is, of what a person effeminate is, or non-effeminate, or masculine, or any of that other bullshit that really doesn't apply. And how do I know that it's a terminology that comes from the Bible? Because they talk about it. Yeah. 1 Corinthians 6, 9, and 10, when they talk about all the things that someone unrighteous, that's another trigger word, unrighteous or foolish or any other Bible words that came up from a man. But anyway, the list of things when they say the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God, fornicators, they look across fornicators, they look across idolaters, they look across thieves, drunkards, and they say, oh, effeminate. Which means basically a man, or what they claim is a man, having or showing characteristics of a woman. Now, if we want to do some definitions, we're going to go into some definitions. I went on Google, pulled up a few of my own definitions here. Anybody can find it. All you have to do is put in gender definitions. All right, so let me read it to you. Gender means the state of being male or female in typically regarding to social constructs rather than physical attributes. Are you paying attention to that? Regarding social constructs rather than physical attributes. So, back in the day, people would say, oh, well, cut your long hair, hippie. You look like a woman, Or if you have short hair, oh, you must be butch. All of those are derogatory comments. And that's what the labeling of what a man is supposed to be and what a woman is supposed to be. And we're not going for that anymore. And I'm saying I'm not talking about me as in being any type of identification for a gender, because I was born a woman, so you would call me cisgender. Cisgender refers to someone who identifies with the gender they were assigned at birth. I mean, you could do that. But as in me labeling myself, tomboy, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, next definition. I told you about gender. I told you about cisgender. Transgender refers to someone who does not identify with the gender they were assigned at birth. Meaning, when they came out and they saw that it was a penis, and they said, oh, okay, it's a boy because it has this attachment right here. But then when the child grew up and said, but you know what, I don't think like a boy. I like this. I want to do this. I want to go here. I want to do my nails. I want to do my makeup. That's basically going against what they were identified with as a birth. And I'm telling you that they could do whatever they want to do. You can't define what someone is based upon what's attached or not attached to someone's body. Next definition, non-binary, refers to someone who does not identify as exclusively male or female. What's that I was saying? Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. You do what you want to do. Nobody can tell you what to do. Gender fluid refers to someone whose gender identity changes over time from one end of the spectrum to another. Now, somebody of the transgender community can come into my comments and let me know how gender fluid is different than transgender, because I'm not understanding that, but I do understand that there is a separation. So, yeah, I would appreciate help with that. But you might be saying, well, what does this have to do with the church and black community? Well, when you get into specific scriptures in the Bible, and then they talk about what a man is supposed to do and what a woman is supposed to do, we're constantly going away from that book because that book is not really, it's not a reliable source. It was made by a group of men who translated and translated and translated and rewrote and rewrote and rewrote and translated and rewrote and changed and rewrote and took this out and put this in. And it's just not a reliable source, especially when it comes to people of certain cultures, people of certain ethnicities, and especially women. Meaning born with a vagina, so female. They were specifically targeted as being less than, as being not as smart, not as wise. They even had special instructions in the Bible, such as 1 Timothy 2:12. Yes, I did write it down. Women are not to teach, and women are to be in silence. Now that gets overlooked a lot because all of the women who claim to be religious are on social media. They're not being silent. They're telling what they think. They're bashing people of different ethnicities. They're bashing people of different backgrounds, different gender identities. They're just bashing everybody. And to have lots of followers based on bashing, that's foul. That's real foul. That's real foul. But backing up to the black church. The black church, which also holds the Bible to be the number one source of education, even though in this day and age we've evolved so far where we have literally the internet at our fingertips where we can look up things for ourselves. You don't have to go by one book when you have 50 or 60 books. You don't have to go by one book on one subject when you can go online and look up any subject you want. Now, I grew up in the age of libraries where if you wanted to know something, you would get your books in your backpack and take your butt to the library, or pull out the whole slew of encyclopedias and we would look it up. Now you could just go to the internet. That's a whole lot better, but I will still go to the library because I just like books. I have books in my home. I've always had books wherever I've moved. I had two main things. I have a bookshelf and I have a movie shelf where I have movies because I like movies rather than watching TV. But sorry about that. I had to be still in this chair. It's kind of squeaky. But for the black church and the black community to hold this book so high when it literally pushes down or holds down certain people just because they're a different way than what is labeled in that book. You can't say that a man is acting effeminate because he wants to wear pink or he wants to have his nails done or he wants to get his hair done. You're blurring the lines between your own standards, because what happened to the what was that label that you said for men who like to take care of themselves? Oh man, somebody got to put it in the comment section. I will, if I think of it, I'll put it at the top there. You know what? Let's look at this up right quick. Let's look it up. Let's see what it was, because I know it was a word. It is... Yeah, I'm going to have to cut this out. Oh, come on. What's it called? Metrosexual. There we go. Metrosexual. It's supposed to be a straight man who likes to get pedicures and manicures. So, you disregard your own word, metrosexual, and just jump all the way over and say he's being effeminate. He's acting like a woman. And where did you get this acting like a woman from? Or acting like a man? You got it from the book that you were taught when you was a child. The book that can easily be disproved. The book that obviously people have said, scholars have said, that the people who were supposed to have written the books didn't even write the books. There were other writers, there were ghost writers, and things like that. Your main source of everything that you believe is from this book that's fucked up from beginning to end. Okay? We're just going to put it out there. It's fucked up. The same book that in Ephesians 6:5, which is New Testament, mind you, when you tell people, slaves, be obedient to your masters. Oh, it's out of context. They mean servants. If somebody could tell you to be obedient to your master, they could also say, you know what, slavery is just not a good idea. Instead of me telling you how if you beat your slave and they don't get up for 2 days, then you're going to get punished. But if they do get up in 2 days, then you won't get punished. Instead of me saying that, I should have just said, you know what, it's just not a good idea. This book, you talking about that book? That book right there. That's the book you're talking about. That's where you got the label from as how a man should be and how a woman should be. When in actuality, in 2020, you could do whatever you want to do and be whoever you want to be as long as you're not hurting anyone else. As long as you're not targeting younger people, which is what you do. You target younger people to try to convert them into your belief. There's no such thing as a man who is effeminate. It's a man, if he identifies himself as being hetero or cis, and he does things that he likes, you can't say, oh, well, he's acting like a woman. Especially if you haven't even asked him. Have you talked to him? Or you just came to a conclusion? You came to a whole ass conclusion without even ever talking to the person. And I don't agree with that. Leave your thoughts below. I don't want to make this too long. Tell me what you think.